championship contenders, 2 eliminated tonight. And with more on others hoping to avoid the cut, here's Hermie Sadler and Alan Cavana.
Vince, Ross Chastain is 28 points to the good. Comfortable tonight? Of course. Is he satisfied? Absolutely not. He told me they measured their success in checkered flags, and in the first 2 races of this round, they have yet to collect any. They want to send a message tonight and get the win here in Las Vegas. At the other end of the spectrum is Stewart Freeston in the 52 truck. That team had trouble passing initial inspections, so NASCAR ejected their truck chief and docked them 30 minutes of practice time. Freeston then went out and qualified 19th, the worst of any of the playoff drivers. He only has a 6-point buffer. He has work tonight to do from the start of the green flag, Hermie.
Well, Alan, Matt Crafton sits 5 points inside the cutoff bubble tonight. He's also a former series champion, but it's been 53 races since the 88 has gone to victory lane. I asked the team, what has been the difference? He says speed. We got to get a little bit better balance with our truck, and we have to execute. They think they've got the total package to get it done tonight. Now, the 16 is Austin Hill. He jumped in this truck and won Daytona. Looked like this team was not even going to miss a beat. But after that, 15 races without going to victory lane. I asked Scott Zipadelli, how important was that win at Michigan for your driver? He said important for the driver, but more important for our team. We needed a new trophy in the shop to show everybody what we are, and that is defending series champions.
Good stuff, Hermie and Alan. Thank you very much. Well, it's an elimination race. It's Friday the 13th. It's a full moon. It's Las Vegas. I mean, what could possibly go wrong tonight? We're hoping it all goes right, and it'll be a fun one to cover for sure. With Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. We've talked about the playoff contenders. How about the other guys? They've got agendas of their own, don't they, Phil?
Yeah, Vince, there's more than 8 guys in this race. And let's look no further than our pole sitter, Christian Eckes. His 2nd pole of the year, but see that number 51? That truck has a great record this year. Rudy Fugle calling the shots on that truck. They've already been to victory lane 6 times, 5 with Kyle Busch, including here in the spring, as well as winning with Greg Biffle. That truck finished 2nd our last 2 races with 2 other drivers. But guys, we have some other drivers that have been here all year long that are potential winners. Ben Rhodes has won at this racetrack before. He's had 3 second-place finishes this year. He hasn't won. Harrison Burton been knocking on the door a number of top 5 finishes, looking for his first win, as well as Sheldon Creed. He has 2 runner-up finishes in the last 4 races, and Todd Gilliland knocked on the door last year as well as this year. Any one of these 4 guys can go to victory lane, and Michael, they could make it a long night for some of our playoff contenders.
Well, it looks like it could already be a long night for Brett Moffitt. He had a flat tire during qualifying. The team had to change tires. That means he will start in the rear. That's going to be a tough challenge, but man, is this place ever racy. I can't wait to throw the green flag and watch Moffitt charge through this field, because there's all kinds of room to race on the track. Oh, and I guess if you want to, you can go off the track and make some moves as well. You can see 3 wide early on, and look how loose Enfinger gets off turn 2. This kind of action is going to happen all night long. The draft is going to be huge. You can get a big pull on the straightaways and make a move like that. The slingshot is back, and you can see these trucks really battling side by side, closely together. Man, it's going to be a fun night.
Let's take a look at the playoff standings. And, of course, we've talked about Moffitt and his 2 wins, playing with house money tonight. And Tyler Ankrum, really, I got to think's in the same boat, just in the sense that he has nothing to prove. I mean, no one expected him to be in the playoffs. Everything is gravy for him. He got the win earlier this season. Yeah, he currently sits in the 8th spot, but he's not really under any pressure, is he?
No, not at all. There's only been 2 races this year that he would have outpointed some of these playoff contenders enough to get him in the playoffs. So he's got to make something magical happen. Ross Chastain, you can see in 2nd. He's got the most comfortable, other than certainly Brett Moffitt.
You know what I like? Johnny Sauter, when you push him up against the corner. He's going to come fighting out of that corner, and I believe he's going to be a guy that's going to be fun to watch tonight.
Well, Moffitt in the last race won from the pole. Can he win from the tail of the field tonight? We're about to find out. Let's get that command.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, the Vice President of the Westgate Superbook, Jay Cornegay.
All right, let's get this Westgate 200 race rolling. Drivers, start your engines!
Drivers are ready to go. Engines are fired. They're ready to roll. It's the final race in round 1. emanating from Vegas.
The playoff intensity is certainly cranked up.
These guys are going to have their hands full here.
This is built for speed.
Look at this racing here. Wow.
There's contact. The playoffs now.
Every race weekend, 32 trucks roll off the grid in the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. 32 drivers willing to put it all on the line for a trip to victory lane. So to bet on one driver to win versus the field would be foolish, wouldn't it?
It's time to celebrate. Moffitt has won at Bristol.
Wouldn't it?
For the second straight race, Brett Moffitt wins.
Time is running out, gentlemen. There's one more chance. One last roll of the dice to make the round of 6.
What a special night in a special city. It's Las Vegas. Gander Outdoors Truck Series playoffs. The world of Westgate. Las Vegas 200. It's the elimination race. 2 drivers will be eliminated from the championship battle tonight. But we've got a long way to get there. 134 laps on track. And as you see, the trucks are rolling and about to get ready on this 1.5 miles, Mikey.
Yeah, let's look at our Gander Outdoors track description. You can see 1.5 miles in length. The key here is the variable banking down in the corner. As you go up higher on the track, there's more banking there to hold the trucks, and that's why this place is so entertaining. I think we'll see 3 wide in these turns. We'll probably see 4.
Let's take a look at the race analysis. You see this race is 134 laps, a little bit over 200 miles. You see our 3 stages, 30, 30, and our final stage, 74 laps. Our pit window is somewhere between 50 and 55 laps. That means we will have a pit stop in that final stage, and Grant Enfinger won this race 1 year ago.
Christian Eckes earned pole position earlier today in qualifying. You see the starting lineup at the bottom of the screen. And Kyle Busch Motorsports winning the pole at Las Vegas for the 4th straight time. Eckes' second career pole.
Yeah, let's take a look at our onboards. There's Johnny Sauter. That's the 10-4. Johnny's below the cut line, but he's had 5 top 2 finishes here at Las Vegas. He needs another one of those tonight, and he started from the 10th spot.
Let's hop up to the 4th row. This is Austin Hill. He's in Shiggy Hattori's Toyota Tundra. He's running from the 7th position, like I said, but this is the good part. He's got that visor cam. We're going to be able to see the bumps and the action from the driver's eyes, what it looks like for these guys to hustle these trucks over 175 miles an hour down into these turns, 2 and 3 wide racing.
Got some troubles with the 8 truck of John Hunter Nemechek on pit road. That's unfortunate. Nemechek did a good job in qualifying. Qualified on the 6th row, and you see with some issues there. John Hunter always a threat to win in each and every truck start. And first you got to get started.
It doesn't look too urgent. His window net's down, and the guys are just casually pushing that truck. Maybe they're going to go behind the wall.
It was certainly not the way they wanted this race to unfold, because every time John Hunter is in the seat, they believe they have a shot to win. Let's go downstairs, check in again with our pit reporters, beginning with Alan.
Vince, 18-year-old Christian Eckes is on the pole tonight, but this is his first 1.5 mile race ever in a truck. I'm with his crew chief, Rudy Fugel. How good is your driver at learning on the job, adapting quickly?
Yeah, he works really, really hard. Toyota and Kyle Busch Motorsports both have a lot of tools to prep these drivers before the race. So he's been working really, really hard for months preparing for this. This is one of the harder ones, though. We practiced at 8 in the morning with sand on the racetrack, no rubber, and now we're racing back at 6 o'clock. So this will be a difficult one, but I think he's ready to learn and get better.
Some work to do for the pole setter. Hermie?
Alan Jr. Joyner is the crew chief of Matt Crafton. We've talked about how long it's been since your team has been to victory lane, but it seems a little different with your race team here today. Like they have a confidence about them a little more than usual. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. We just got a little extra pep in our step. You know, we unloaded that F-150 from our Menards, Thorsport F-150 unloaded so good, and we've made excellent changes all day. We're not going to be denied today. It's our turn. We're gonna do whatever it takes to get in victory lane. We're gonna be smart. We're gonna get stage points, do what we got to do, and then I want to take this trophy home.
Matt Crafton's finished second here 3 times.
Well, one of the things they're going to have to do is avoid damage. It seems like races of late, they've gotten some damage on their trucks, and that's limited their effectiveness in racing conditions. As you see Brett Moffitt dropping to the rear. If you've just joined us during qualifying, they had a flat tire, and even though he qualified up in the second row, they had to change that tire, so he will start at the back.
That's a helpless feeling there, isn't it, Phil? Watching all those trucks roll by you and know that you need to march back through all of them to get to the front. You see the 34, Jesse Iwuji, had a wreck during qualifying, and Justin Johnson has hopped aboard the 34 truck. Here's the wreck. Check this out.
Turn 4 for Jesse Iwuji, and this is a massive hit on that inside pit wall.
Yeah, I think probably they may not have had a backup truck for the 34, and Justin Johnson was here, did not run fast enough to make the race, so they said, hey, we'll use that as a backup, and Jesse certainly may be sore after that big hit, so Justin's going to drive this truck.
Well, Justin Johnson is a good story, 34 years old, from here in Las Vegas. He made 4 truck starts several years ago, but this is his first ever start in his hometown of Las Vegas. As a teenager, he worked in the media center here at the racetrack, so what a great opportunity it is for Justin Johnson to be able to start this race here tonight. Christian Eckes on the inside, and we mentioned his second career pole earned earlier today in qualifying, and Kyle Busch Motorsports seems to have it figured out here at Las Vegas. 4 straight pole wins for KBM at Vegas. Earlier this season, Kyle Busch was the winner here at Vegas. We'll see what happens with Christian Eckes. He starts from the pole tonight, and Ross Chastain, one of our championship contenders, on the outside. Final race in round 1 underway from Las Vegas. Eckes got a good push from his teammate Todd Gilliland in that 4 truck, and there is Matt Crafton right underneath on that white line, looking inside and making it 3 wide for second.
Michael, you said we were going to be 3 wide. It didn't take too long.
Look at these guys already pushing and shoving so aggressively.
Eckes gets out to the point, but it is 2 and 3 wide all through the pack.
So that sun may be an issue for a little while coming off at turn number 4. As we ride along with Johnny Sauter.
Chastain still on the outside, running that high groove. One of the things we enjoy about this racetrack the most, you can run a lot of different angles and a lot of different lanes here at Las Vegas.
You know, that's the first race in 5 races that the 51 has led. They led 11 out of the first 13 races this year with different drivers. They had not led in the last 5, even though they had a couple runner-up finishes. But Christian Eckes has it out front right now.
Austin Hill in the 16, and there's Sheldon Creed outside of him in the 2 truck. Hill has won a couple of times this year. Is one of those trying to stay alive in the championship hunt.
You can see these drivers searching around already. Ross Chastain running a higher line than Christian Eckes down in the corner and was making some ground there. Grant Enfinger in the 98 truck, he's dedicated to the bottom, but this is a tight battle up front.
You see the pylon on the left-hand side of the screen, all those drivers with the yellow background. They are playoff drivers as Chastain challenges for the lead now and is going to get it from Eckes.
He used that draft, Michael, you were talking about to get that momentum, get that run on Eckes. And here comes Enfinger on the inside.
Looks like Matt Crafton's thinking about going on the outside of Eckes, settles in behind him.
Remember, Michael, you talk about the track description, the progressive banking in the corners here. That should promote side-by-side 3-wide racing. There's no penalty for running up higher.
Just underway here in Las Vegas, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Christian Eckes led from the pole the first 3 laps, but Ross Chastain has wrestled away the lead, and Chastain is out front. Brett Moffitt had to start at the rear after changing off flat after qualifying, and he is making his way up through the field. Moffitt up to 18th now.
There's Ben Rhodes, the 99 truck. Remember, he's a former smoke out of Enfinger's truck.
Grant Enfinger, one of our championship hopefuls, and his hopes maybe going up in smoke.
Oh, God, after the season he's had, he was a regular season point champion.
And a solid start to this race. Had a really fast Thor Sport number 98 Ford.
A heartbreaker for Grant Enfinger, winner of this race 2 years ago, and believed that they had a truck capable of doing it again tonight. Not going to happen for Grant Enfinger. Coming back to Las Vegas. Problems early from one of our playoff drivers, Grant Enfinger. Smoke out the rear end of that truck. They came, put the hood up on pit lane, and now they're pushing it behind the wall, Hermie.
Yeah, Vince, when he came down pit road, the truck was still running, but they know it's an oil leak, but they do not know exactly what is causing it at this point. They're going to try to stop right here behind pit road and try to fix it here, or at least diagnose the problem, try to get him back out as soon as they possibly can. But it is an oil leak under the hood. But again, the engine was running when he came down pit road.
Yeah, what a heartbreaker for this 98 team, even if they can get back out, certainly. Losing laps. How about those that are going the right direction? They're Xfinity biggest movers.
Yeah, not a big surprise that Brett Moffitt leads that group. 13 spots since the start of the race. And you see Stewart Freeston also up 5 spots from his 19th place starting position.
An early caution. Will it get better for the 98 of Enfinger? Here in Las Vegas, of course, the playoffs and the final race in round 1, and here's how it stood when we started. Stewart Freeston was 6 points to the good, and he's already headed in the right direction, has made up several spots here early on. Matt Crafton.
Let's remember, there's 60 points available. When you're talking about 4, 5, 6 points, that is nothing.
And bad news for Grant Enfinger, already behind the wall.
I'm sure that got Johnny Sauter's attention, and Tyler Ankrum. Both of those guys now are just a handful of points out of being in one of those coveted transfer spots.
And we're under caution because of the 98 of Grant Enfinger, who is, you see, gone behind the wall, and that is not going to benefit him, obviously, in regards to his championship hopes, and in all likelihood, unless some sort of miracle unfolds here throughout the course of the night, his chances of advancing to the next round are done.
Yeah, they really are. But that, as you mentioned, but somebody's problem is going to be somebody else's gain. Johnny Sauter came in here below the cut line, and as they run on the racetrack right now, he's 24 points to the good.
Looked like there was some urgency there by the crew member for that 98 truck to get him into the garage area and try to repair that truck.
Well, they're finishing up the cleanup on track. It will be done when we return. Green from Vegas in a moment. Well, we said you never know what you're going to get, and Friday the 13th is going to be under a full moon. All those things, of course, it's Las Vegas. Well, Grant Enfinger, one of our playoff drivers, already back in the garage with a mechanical issue. John Hunter Nemechek, another driver that, frankly, we thought could be a contender to win this race tonight, didn't even get started. He is off the track, and it has been an interesting start to this one already, with Christian Eckes and Ross Chastain sharing the leading positions. Chastain has led 9. Eckes led the first 3, as you see how the first round of our playoffs has unfolded.
And I love our rounds of the playoff. You see right here, these racetracks couldn't be any more polar opposite. That's High Bank short track at Bristol, then almost a 2.5-mile road course in Canada, and then the 1.5 mile here.
It gets cleaned up in the next round, right? They're about alike. Talladega, biggest track. Martinsville, smallest. ISM, somewhere in the middle.
Ross Chastain on the outside, the control vehicle from the point. Let's see if he can get a little help from Austin Hill and stay there. Back green in Las Vegas.
See that yellow 88, Matt Crafton lined up on the tailgate of the 51 of Eckes.
Last time off turn 2 on the start, he was able to dive below the truck he was trailing. Can he do it again? A lot of momentum, and there goes Crafton.
Fanning 3 and 4 wide off turn 2, and Crafton down on the bottom.
Had a little help from the 2 of Sheldon Creed.
Creed's got to be careful. That's a tough spot to get yourself in. Down on the bottom, 3 wide.
Boy, Eckes got put in the middle of that sandwich. He went from running alongside Ross Chastain in the front to dropping back to about 8th or 9th, and still fading.
The left side of your screen, you see Brett Moffitt. And now he's on the right side of your screen, that 24 truck on the high side making some passes.
Moffitt now up to 12th. Remember, he started at the tail, working his way up quickly. Harrison Burton in that 18 truck inside there of the 2 of Sheldon Creed, and that's Burton's teammate just ahead of them, the 4 of Todd Gilliland.
Look at Brennan Poole up the middle of this race too, up in the top 10 in that 30 truck, the white one on the outside.
Well, that Moffitt's truck, we knew it was good from practice. Oh, a little contact there between Johnny Sauter and Harrison Burton.
Look at this run. We talk about the draft. There it is. That's a great example of great momentum for Sauter, able to move around.
Whoa, he gets loose, oh, Michael.
Down on the bottom, it's just tough, Phil, and you see what it does. It opens up the door for Brennan Poole in that 30 truck.
And Burton gets right back by Sauter, as Sauter had to get out of it and gather it up. Johnny Sauter, just 2 top 10s, just 2 races inside the top 10 since he won at Dover in May. Trying to get back in position tonight here in Las Vegas, and you see Eckes sandwiched again as Stewart Freeston gets around him.
What about Austin Hill in that 16 truck?
Back in the front, it's Austin Hill taking that lead from Ross Chastain, the 3rd different leader tonight, and Matt Crafton runs close behind in 3rd.
I think the last time we saw Austin Hill drive that very 16 truck, he drove it to Victory Lane in Michigan.
Yeah, he was a guy that I was really going to keep my eye on tonight, Phil, because of that. We know they had a step up in performance at Michigan. This track drives similar to Michigan, and he's showing it again.
Now, these drivers experience the excitement of running up toward the front, and then there's the other side of the story, and that's the heartbreak of already being in the garage, and Grant Enfinger experiencing it. He's with Hermie.
Events the regular season champion. Mechanical failure put you out tonight. Grant, what do you say at a time like this, emotional roller coaster that this sport takes you on?
Yeah, we had a really good Thor Sport race in F-150. Just a shame our season hopes come down to a quality control and a spec part that we have nothing to do with. So I definitely share our owners' frustration with the parts there under the hood. Just frustrating, all these guys worked their tails off all year. We had a good truck, just wasn't meant to be.
And guys, the final culprit, a rear main seal, blew out of the back of the engine under the hood of the 98. Tough end to this race and to the championship hopes of Grant Enfinger.
Well, that's for sure. Thank you, Hermie. Had a lead change back at the front. You saw it there during that conversation with Enfinger as Chastain has gone back to the lead, and Austin Hill, who had been out front, now rides 3rd as you get a good perspective from his visor.
See those gauges flashing. I saw some water coming out of the overflow on a truck. It might be the 16 of Hill. That could be an overheating issue. Running that tight in the draft, and any debris that might get on that grill could cause that engine to run hotter than it needs to, and that's usually what happens when the gauges are flashing. It's above the temperature that they like it to run.
10 laps to go here in stage 1. Going to take a break from Las Vegas.
Back here in Las Vegas for the final race of this first round of the Truck Series playoff. You're looking at the 52 of Stewart Freeston, one of the playoff drivers. He'd worked his way up nearly to the top 10, but now they are having a power issue. The team believes they may have a cylinder down. Over the radio, they called it survival mode. Try to get to the end of the stage in just 4 more laps. Expect to see the hood up on the 52 truck to see what they can do to fix it, guys.
Wow. So first it's Grant Enfinger with a problem. Now it's Stuart Freezing with an issue. All of a sudden, Tyler Ankrum, who came into this final race in round 1, really kind of up against it, got to be thinking his chances are looking pretty good now.
Yeah, without a doubt, and he's still running in the top 10, so he definitely has improved from where he qualified. So this race is far from over here. Obviously, we know that Grant Enfinger, with his problems, he's going to be one of the guys that's out. But we never know until the end here. You see Jennifer Jo Cobb coasting down the racetrack, although we're very, very close to the stage end. I don't think that will bring out a caution prematurely.
Yeah, she has lost power, and as you mentioned, just a couple of laps to go here in stage 1. The pits closed at the final 2 laps of each stage as Ross Chastain continues to lead the way. 3 different leaders so far here in stage 1. Christian Eckes led from the pole at the start of the race. Chastain took the lead, and then Austin Hill grabbed the top spot for a couple of positions. You see Hill there in that 16 spot. He's currently running 3rd.
We talk about how important these stage points are. We've got our top 4 right now, all playoff contenders. as we see a battle for the second spot. Austin Hill wants one more point, trying to get by Matt Crafton.
Crafton fighting back on the outside.
Can Hill hold it down and clear him? No, Crafton's going to hang tough on the outside.
And the green and white checkers for Ross Chastain. 6th stage win of the season, and he has won a stage in 4 consecutive races. That's what you've got to do if you have hopes of winning the championship. Has the speed and has the green and white checkers to get things started here in Las Vegas. Stage 1 is complete here in Las Vegas with Ross Chastain, the Stage 1 winner. Those playoff drivers collecting some stage points. Of course, Chastain gets that playoff point as the winner of the stage. The big loser in Stage 1 was the 98 of Grant Enfinger, already in the garage and done for the night. So his playoff and championship hopes are done.
And certainly questions about the 52 truck of Freeston. They've got trouble under the hood. Will they take extra time during this stage break and look under the hood and check it out? It looks like they're formulating a plan. That's crew chief Trip Bruce talking with the...
That's Tom Ackerman on the right. He kind of runs the Truck Series program for GMS.
One of the gentlemen with Ilmore Engines there talking about a plan. Here come the trucks.
Ross Chastain leading them down pit road, and our pit reporters are there. We're going to begin with Hermie Sadler in the 88 of Crafton.
Well, Vince Crafton said the biggest help to him this weekend has been more rear stability. He doesn't want to make any changes to the truck. Tires and fuel for the 88. Now the 16 of Austin Hill, it'll be 2 right side tires and a track bar adjustment to loosen up his truck on exit. Allen.
The leader, Ross Chastain, on the bottom of your screen, said he had a great first stage. He was a little free on the bottom, so they just moved up top and had a great run in that first stage. They're hung up there on the back of the right side of the truck there. They're telling him just to take off right now. Slow stop for Ross Chastain. As we then look at the 52 truck, remember we told you about his problems, losing power, potentially down a cylinder. Expect the hood to come up on this truck right now as they try to diagnose it. Over the radio, crew chief Trip Bruce said they're going to try to replace all the plug wires, check each one individually. They want Stewart Freeston to keep revving the engine so they can hear it change every time they pull a plug wire on and put it back on. Again, trying to diagnose the problem, why exactly they're down on power right now.
Yeah, one of those crew members has a digital pyrometer, so what he's going to do, he's going to shoot the temperature of the header and try to find the colder one. That would mean it wasn't firing that plug wire, so I think that's what they're trying to do. And I saw somebody give a thumbs up, so they may have been able to diagnose that problem already.
See our World of Westgate race off pit road. Some taking 4, others 2. Jordan Anderson, fuel only. Back to Las Vegas for stage 2 in a moment. Problems for another one of our playoff participants as the hood is up on the Stuart Freezing truck.
Seems like, Phil, they diagnosed the problem, found a plug wire that was broken, got another plug wire, and they are replacing it now. He's going to lose a lap, but with stage breaks and the free pass, he could very well get back into this race.
Yeah, doesn't need to lose 2 laps, so if he can limit it to 1, I think he'll still be in pretty good shape.
Austin Hill on the outside, the control vehicle, and Harrison Burton inside. Stage 2 underway in Las Vegas. How about to the bottom?
How about 3 wide?
Ross Chastain using all the track and then some to get around Burton and move into second. Matt Crafton below the white line.
How many wide is that, Michael?
I couldn't count, Phil, but it was more than 3. We know that, so I guess 4, but maybe 5. And look, they're down in the corner still trying to sort it out.
4 wide again. Look at that.
5. Make it.
There it is.
Brennan Poole trying to get by all of them, and that's Moffitt on the outside.
I honestly didn't know we would say 5 wide. That was pretty awesome right there. These truckers are on it tonight.
Great racing here in Las Vegas tonight. Ross Chastain won stage 1. We've already had one of our playoff participants out of the race. That's Grant Enfinger, and another, Stuart Freezing, with problems early on. Battle for position all over the track. And yeah, we're going to talk a lot about the playoff drivers tonight, but everybody's got an agenda. There are several that believe they have trucks capable of winning, even if they're not in the playoffs, and they're going to give everything they can to their team and sponsor to get that truck in victory lane tonight.
Really impressed with Johnny Sauter. That 13 truck was not happy with this truck in practice. Worked with his teammates, Matt Crafton. Johnny Sauter starting to, I think, the 38's.
The 88 and the 13 with problems.
You have to be kidding me.
Oh, my goodness. Teammates, ThorSport teammates, that would be 3 of the 4 ThorSport trucks with Infinger already in the garage.
Matt Crafton's going to have to stop because that truck's on fire.
Both of the trucks did the same exact thing at the same time. There was fire coming out the right side of both of those trucks.
There was no contact?
No, that was under the hood, I think.
Wow, Joe Shear Jr., Johnny Sauter's crew chief on the left, and Junior Joyner on the right.
Phil, you talked to Junior Joyner earlier today, and he was so optimistic about the speed of this 88 truck, and Matt Crafton was certainly delivering early. A lot of speed. You can see the fire there. That's exactly what it looked like underneath the hood of the 88.
All out of the same company? Is it possibly the same type of an issue as what sent Grant Infinger to the garage?
Gosh, I don't know.
It's too hard to speculate on what's going on. If the rear main seal came out of this truck, the oil could have caught on fire. That could have been the case.
Yeah. Alan?
And the spotter was warning of that fire right there. Johnny Sauter didn't really know what was going on. He says all the gauges read fine, believes they lost a cylinder. But again, as they drove by, they saw the flames under there. They're just trying to diagnose what's going on right now.
And underneath all that smoke is the truck of Matt Crafton. And Junior Joyner, the frustration continues for this team.
I wonder if Junior really knows, though, that Johnny Sauter is having that issue as well. If Johnny cannot return to the racetrack, remember, he came in here below the cut line. Matt Crafton was above the cut line. We're looking at the points as they run right now on our scoring monitor, and it has Matt Crafton ahead of Johnny Sauter.
Remember, 2 were going to be eliminated tonight, and one of them, Grant Infinger, is already out.
I mean, Junior Joyner may not realize that if Johnny Sauter doesn't get back on the racetrack, then he's going to make this next round by default.
Wow. And remember, Matt Crafton in that 88 got 9 stage points. The 13 of Sauter got 7. So, I mean, every little stage point that could have possibly kept Crafton ahead of Sauter in the standings may pay off right here in what we're seeing.
That happened at the same time.
Could they have run over something, Michael, maybe, and busted an oil line on both of those trucks?
That would seem
the
unlikely.
motor doesn't sound good, though, on Johnny Sauter's truck, does it?
Look at that. And look at the fire from the right front out of each truck. There was a rear main seal issue on the 98 truck of Infinger earlier. If they lost the main seal there in the rear, the oil could have gotten out and gotten on the headers. That very well could be what happened to both those trucks.
That is quite amazing. And that's not something that happens very often. We never see trucks lose rear main seals.
And I've never seen 2 trucks, 2 teammates simultaneously have the same issue. Look at that. That's incredible.
And Hermie Sadler reported it was a rear seal issue for the 98 of Infinger as well. And, of course, Infinger, Crafton, Sauter, all out of the same company in ThorSport.
I bet you Junior Joyner's doing what you're talking about right now, Phil, looking at those points, understanding that the stage points that they got in that first round could be the difference.
And you see now those 4 drivers on the left-hand side of your screen, back in this race 1 year ago, those 4 all finished in the top 5. And tonight, Sauter, Crafton, and Infinger all outside the top 25.
I think Junior Joyner's shell-shocked right there. He just has a look on his face like, I cannot believe this.
Well, I can't believe it either. I just have never seen anything like that. Both engines going up at the same time. I mean, instantaneously.
Well, if Crafton and Sauter, neither one can continue, Crafton's still going to make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Hermie's with his crew chief.
He's watching the monitor just like we are. Any idea what's going on with the 88 or the 13?
Not a clue, really. I wish I knew. I wish I could help you guys. Weird that it happens at the exact same time. You know, the bad thing is it looked like too big a flame to pull it behind the wall. So our day's done. We had a really good Menards F-150. Everybody at the shop's done such a good job, and I mean, business is picking up. So I guess we got to let the cards fall like they will now, I guess, right?
These guys still going to try to diagnose exactly what's going on. I can tell you, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that.
Well, that makes about all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I haven't.
It's one of the, obviously not good for either one of these teams, but it's one of the great things I love about live sporting events. Just when you think you've seen it all.
We've been around a long time collectively between us, and I've never seen anything like that.
Well, and remember, at the beginning of the race, it was the 98 of Grant Enfinger. I mean, this is just a few laps into the race. Sauter and Crafton's teammate.
It looked very similar, with same exact thing without the fire.
On the same part of the racetrack.
Well, come back, because you know no idea what we're going to see the rest of the way after this start here in Vegas.
Back here in Las Vegas, I am with Matt Crafton, driver of the 88 truck, treated and released from the infield care center. We thought it was an engine issue possibly, but it sounded like it was more from your end.
Yeah, the 13, when I was following behind him, I seen him hit something, the smoke underneath of his truck getting in. I seen whatever it came out, it went underneath ours, and it must have hit ours. And I saw him catch on fire on the front shoulder. I said, 13's on fire, and they said, no, you're on fire too. So it must have just took out oil lines and everything, and then it got on the exhaust and caught on fire. It was a shame, because I told you this Ford F-150 was good, and with that restart went from 7th to 3rd and 4th right there, and I really think we had something tonight, but we'll rebound, we'll be all right.
Tough way to potentially end a championship run, guys.
Well, Crafton done for the night. Sauter has gone behind the wall. It looks as though that team is hoping to repair as we go back to green here in stage 2 with Ross Chastain and Austin Hill at the front, side by side for the lead.
Brett Moffitt now in a battle for the 3rd spot with the 51 of Christian Eckes all the way from the back in 46 laps. Now he's going to have Brennan pull to his inside.
Remember, Moffitt qualified 4th tonight, but had to start at the tail of the field after a flat tire discovered in qualifying.
What's that flying out from behind the 16 truck, Phil?
It looks just like a piece of tape or something like that, because it's pretty flimsy.
I saw it sparking a little bit, though.
Maybe a piece of aluminum then, possibly.
So Moffitt 3rd, and the 16 truck just ahead of him. Of course, the truck that he drove for, the team that he drove for a year ago and winning the championship, now piloted by Austin Hill. And there's Ross Chastain, a 3-time winner this season at the front.
These trucks fly by, don't they? On that back straightaway, this draft speeds faster than they qualified right now.
A nice recovery by that 99 of Ben Rhodes up to the 5th spot. Remember, he made an early pit stop, fell back outside the top 20 early on, has made his way back up into the top 5.
Just past the halfway point here in stage 2 as Chastain continues to lead. He's led the most laps. He's led 30 of the 48 so far tonight.
And his lead has been about a truck length at the most, hasn't it, Vince? Not even that right now as Austin Hill gets to the inside.
What a great 3-way battle right here.
Hill won the season opener. He knew he was going to be in the playoffs for, what, about 7 months? And then he won the regular season finale, and now he's trying to put a playoff race in the win column. Got a long way to go, though, as we're still 10 laps to go here in stage 2.
When Austin Hill qualified for the playoffs, Ross Jane was racing in the Xfinity Series full time. Didn't even know he would be racing for a Truck Series championship.
Look how tight these two are battling, and Brett Moffitt right behind them, watching closely.
Of course, Moffitt already with a couple of playoff wins. In fact, he's won both playoff races that we've had here in round 1, trying to sweep the first round of the playoffs, and it would actually be his 5th consecutive playoff win after finishing last season by winning the final 2 races of the campaign.
This is impressive by Austin Hill to be able to drive down to the bottom of the racetrack and run side by side, lap after lap with Ross Chastain. Almost cleared him there, but it's so difficult to make ground on the bottom, and Austin Hill is doing it masterfully.
And here comes Moffitt. Going to give Chastain a little push. They're going to go by Austin Hill, and now Moffitt and Hill will battle for second.
And Brennan Poole and Ben Rhodes says, y'all keep that up, we're coming.
We talked about how good this race was and how good the racing was last year here. Exactly the same thing we're seeing right here.
So difficult to do what Austin Hill is doing. Got a little bit loose there, lost his momentum, falling back in behind Ross Chastain.
Ben Rhodes in that black 99 truck, fourth in line, and former winner here at Las Vegas, won in 2017. Brennan Poole right behind him. Those two have been door to door on occasion, and then some. Poole finished second earlier this season in Charlotte.
And there's our top 5 trucks strung together. 7 laps to go in the stage, guys, and in the last 3 races, not including tonight, Ross Chastain and Brett Moffitt have won every stage. And then earlier, Chastain won the first one in this race. It's going on 4 races that these two have been dominant. You're talking about getting your act together and ready to battle for a championship. These two teams have done just that.
Yeah, we talked about even before the playoffs started that these two guys were going to battle to the end, and I had both of those drivers going to the very last race at Homestead battling for that championship. One of them's already qualified for the next round, and it looks like Ross Chastain is on the verge of doing the same thing.
In fact, Phil, Chastain has clinched because of the number of laps that have gone by and his position, so we can change Chastain from a yellow background to a green background. He and Moffitt have both now clinched positions into the next round of the playoffs.
And he said, thank you, Vince, for changing me to green. I know I'm going to go on and continue my chance to win a championship.
What a great battle here, though, for the second position.
I can't overemphasize how difficult what Austin Hill is doing is. He slips up a bit there. But wow, to be able to run down like that and stay stable and complete the pass, I think that might be the fastest truck on the track. Can he track down Ross Chastain? I think he will.
Well, and remember, this is the championship team from a year ago. Yes, it's a different driver, and the driver makes a lot of difference, no question about it. But this is the championship team. Everybody back together again for the most part at Hattori Racing, led by crew chief Scott Zipadelli and Austin Hill, the pilot now of that 16 truck. But this is the team that won the championship, won 6 races in the championship a year ago.
And oh, by the way, the guy he was racing with just now so hard was the guy that drove this truck to that championship last year, Brett Moffitt.
And as we ride on Austin Hill's helmet, you can see just up ahead, that's leader Ross Chastain.
Problem for the 11 truck, and that's Spencer Davis out of the Rhett Jones Racing garage.
He's made some contact with the outside wall. You can see the damage on both the front and the rear of that truck.
Good young racer, 20-year-old from Dawsonville, Georgia.
He won his last K&N start in the East back at St. Louis a couple weeks ago.
Did they sound off the siren when he did that?
I think so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
2 laps remaining for Ross Chastain here in stage 2, and pit road closed as it always is in the final 2 laps. Chastain stretching it out a little bit certainly compared to where it's been, well, the way it's been throughout the early going in this race, now by almost a full second over Austin Hill.
Yeah, that's 5 times the lead we've seen anyone have this race.
Austin Hill was the fastest truck on the track the last time by, though, so he's going to be heard from again.
1 to go for Chastain, who earlier in this stage, because of the issues that others have had, Chastain clinching his spot to advance into the next round. And if you just joined us, we've had Grant Enfinger out early with a mechanical issue, Matt Crafton out, Johnny Sauter out as well. Sauter back in the garage.
Did you see that move by Tyler Ankrum? He got 2 positions there, and that will put him above the cut line. He was below the cut line prior to that pass there.
Chastain wins stage 2, so Ross Chastain winning again. He's won 5 of the last 8 stages, and Tyler Ankrum, with the strength of that last pass, gets inside the top 10, as mentioned, finishes the stage in 9th.
Vince, I'm almost going to blame all this craziness on you. You reminded everybody it's Friday the 13th. What a crazy night.
And we're seeing the moon now that the sun has set here in Las Vegas. The moon is shining bright, the full moon, Friday the 13th. Crazy indeed, and everyone wants to hold that coming up. Welcome back to Las Vegas and the world of Westgate 200. Glad you could join us tonight here on FS1, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, and this final race in round 1 of the playoffs, and it has been a crazy one tonight. Ross Chastain has won the first 2 stages, locked himself into a position advancing to the next round of the postseason. And you see the other points accumulated, but for Grant Enfinger, Matt Crafton, Johnny Sauter, Stuart Freeston, it has been eventful in all the wrong ways. Coming down pit road and getting ready to go to work over the wall, we begin with Hermie.
Vince, the 16 got 2 tires last time down pit road. This time it'll be 4 tires. This truck is tight all the way through the entry, center, and exit of the corner for the 16, Alan.
Another stage win for Ross Chastain in the 45 truck in the middle of your screen. He says he's just a little too tight. Expect 4 tires and fuel and an air adjustment for Chastain. On the bottom of your screen, Brett Moffitt, who's had a great run. Remember, he had to start at the back of this field, driving up through the field right now. He says he's just too tight behind other trucks. 4 tires and a fuel and an air adjustment for the 24.
You see the race off pit road.
Moffitt hops ahead of Ross Chastain, as does Austin Hill, Christian Eckes. I think Angela Ruck maybe will come back to pit road. I think she might have missed her pit stall. Sauter made repairs to that 13 truck.
Yeah, this could be big for Johnny Sauter. We kind of counted him out, but if that truck does not have an oil leak, does not smoke, and he can continue to run these laps, he may have a shot yet. Let's see if we can chat with our multi-time stage winner here.
Sorry, man. I was hesitating.
He's talking there for a minute. Hey, Ross Chastain, Phil Parsons, and the boys up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Buddy, that truck looks awfully good. You said there was nothing you guys were going to come here to do other than win this race, and that truck looks like you might have a piece to do it with. Having a little trouble him understanding us.
Giving me everything I need. Go execute.
Well, you sure have executed, buddy. Good luck.
Well, the execution is the key, is not beating yourself. And Chastain has had an opportunity to already clinch a spot in the next round. So far, so good for the 45 team. Hey, Fox Sports is proud to partner with Action for Healthy Kids. It's a nonprofit organization working to improve children's health and well-being. It's a program in schools nationwide, and you can learn how you can participate in Take Your Parent to PE Week. That's September 23rd through the 27th. All you got to do is visit activeschoolus.org/PE-week. Matt Crafton's truck back in the garage area, and Crafton is out with a mechanical issue, and with Crafton falling out of the race, that means that the 16 of Austin Hill guarantees himself a position in the next round of the playoffs. So Moffitt had already clinched, Chastain and now Hill have clinched already tonight. Alan?
And still something of a mystery for the 13 of Johnny Sauter. They think they had an oil leak out of the rear main seal. That's what his crew chief, Joe Scheer Jr., just told me. So they brought it in. They attended to the leak. They put more oil in it. It's running now. It made a few laps. They came back in. They don't see any liquid coming out of the bottom of the truck. They're going to try to see how long they can survive. They reminded him, the 52, only on 7 cylinders. It may be a case of who survives the longest, guys.
Wow.
And the way this racing is, who could tell who might survive the longest? We saw 5 wide on a 1.5 miles.
Ooh, it didn't last long. Johnny Sauter.
That could cause a caution there. A lot of smoke.
And there is the caution. Just as the final stage got underway.
And just as we got 5 wide again.
Yeah.
Slowed them down.
This has been amazing tonight, and certainly a night I'm sure Joe Shear and Junior Joyner, Jeff Hensley, the crew chiefs at ThorSport, 3 of the 4 anyway, would a night they just as soon forget.
Yeah, right now Johnny Sauter is below the cut line. The only thing that could change that is if Tyler Ankrum would have a problem. Right now, Tyler Ankrum is being shown in the 8th position, and he's only 4 points ahead of Johnny Sauter as they run on the racetrack right now. If something happened to Tyler Ankrum and he had a poor finish, Johnny Sauter, because of how many points he was ahead of him starting the night, could actually still make the playoffs.
And it's amazing. Ankrum started the night 14 points on the outside looking in, and we called him a long shot. I mean, we're just through the first 2 stages and he's already in position.
Yeah, that's going to be it for Johnny Sauter, though, I'm quite sure.
We'll watch this restart again here to begin the final stage. The gas and a puff of smoke, and then more of the same. And right next to him in the 52 truck is Stuart Freezing, another one of our playoff drivers. He's down a cylinder. And you see our playoff points currently as they stand there in the bottom portion of the pylon.
Good. Tyler Ankrum has to stay on the racetrack and has to get a decent finish.
Yeah, and you talked about if something happens to Ankrum, heck, something doesn't even really have to happen to him. We've seen some great competitive racing. It's possible he finishes outside the top 10, so he's really got to be tough here in this final stage.
Yeah, he's running 8th right now. If he was running 13th, he would be 1 point behind Johnny Sauter.
You could see the frustration from Johnny. He was revving the engine there and not happy about this night.
Well, what's amazing is that Crafton is out of the race, but he's going to advance. And he's going to advance to the next round.
Yeah, without a doubt, because Johnny Sauter cannot leapfrog Matt Crafton. The only question right now to me is whether
Ankrum stays in.
Ankrum and Stewart Freeston as well. Stewart Freeston right now is only 4 points ahead of Johnny Sauter.
So Ankrum and Freeston, what you're telling me, they just need to stay on the track.
Well, I think they got to run competitively. They got to stay up there, and the Freeston maybe not. He has an issue though under the hood, but Ankrum certainly needs to continue to perform well here. There you see the 17 truck.
Boy, what a great story Tyler Ankrum has been this season. At the beginning of the year, he was too young to run the big tracks, wasn't 18 years old yet. And so he missed the first 3 races, did not run here when the series visited in March, and then had that win at Kentucky, that big win that earned him a spot in the playoffs. And he has shown the ability to run up toward the front. Hasn't been there tonight, currently runs 7th, but he has shown the ability and the speed out of that DGR Crosley camp to be able to run up toward the front of the pack.
Boy, we just heard Stuart Freezing come down the front straightaway here, and that engine is really hurting now. Sounded like maybe a couple of cylinders off.
Well, and there's Brett Moffitt, who is the leader of this race after starting from the tail. Let's go back to last year and Moffitt in his championship season, the way he finished the title campaign.
Yeah, he wins at Phoenix to qualify him to go to Homestead to race for the championship. And what does he do there?
Took care of business, didn't he?
What a performance we could see all day long in practice that Friday afternoon. He was a guy that they were going to have to beat. Had that truck right on the bottom of the racetrack. Didn't have to rim ride all night long to get to victory lane. And then he started this playoff with a bang as well.
Switched teams, but the result was the same. At Bristol, he won the playoff opener and then followed it up winning from the pole at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So 4 consecutive playoff races, even though with 2 different teams, 4 straight playoff races. He's taken it to victory lane, and looks like maybe he could extend that streak tonight, as Stewart Freeston has now come back to pit road.
Yeah, that thing's sounding worse. Freeston's being scored outside the top 20, down in the 23rd position. He is on the lead lap, though. These cautions are certainly helping his cause.
I was going to say, that's accomplishment in itself, isn't it?
Yes,
that he's
it
still
is.
on the lead lap. Freeston finished 4th here back in March, led 20 laps, but it's been a struggle for them today.
How much fun was he to watch at Eldora, getting that truck to victory lane? Just what a great show that is.
There's the crew chief, Trip Bruce. They're without their car chief, or their truck chief tonight, because of their issues of getting through tech. He was given an early exit.
Vince, let's re-rock them again and see what we get. 1 to go before these trucks get the green flag. Beautiful evening, Las Vegas. Sun setting, full moon.
Temperature still above 90. It has been hot, and going to get hotter, up near 100 today, and even warmer tomorrow and Sunday.
Guys, right now, Jennifer Jo Cobb just passed Johnny Sauter. She's had some issues. She's 24 laps down, but she now is running ahead of Johnny Sauter. That puts Stuart Freezing now 5 points ahead of Johnny Sauter. There's only 4 trucks on the racetrack that are behind Stewart Freeston. So if Stewart Freeston was to stop right now and all 4 of those trucks pass him and beat him in this race, then as we watch this full moon, then to me, Stewart Freeston will beat Johnny Sauter by 1 point if he was to fall out of the race right now.
Wow. Well, a night worthy of the full moon on a Friday the 13th.
Phil's gears are spinning over here trying to figure out all these scenarios. Look at the beautiful Ferris wheel as well. Just a great night at the races.
I think every night's a great night at the races.
Well, it's certainly been an interesting one tonight, and I'm guessing it's just going to get better. Brett Moffitt on the outside to lead us back to green. Christian Eckes down on the bottom. Chastain jumping to the middle. Creed cuts off that lane. And Todd Gilliland taking a peek on the high side and then back in behind the tailgate of Chastain.
Remember, still 62 laps to go in this race. We will still have yet another pit stop as Sheldon Creed goes for the lead.
Sheldon's got to watch that bottom groove. That truck will get loose. Gets it pinned to that white line, but they're going to go 3 wide off turn 4.
While Creed challenged Moffitt, Chastain goes up high, and now it's going to be Moffitt and Chastain side by side battling for the lead.
Yeah, I don't think this is the last time we will see these 2 guys battling towards the end of this season here. I'll look for them to be battling at Homestead for that championship.
Moffitt manages to fend off the attack this time, and there are plenty of other challengers lurking. The 18 of Harrison Burton. There's Ben Rhodes going around the outside.
Riding along with Austin Hill and the visor cam.
Hill is back in 8th.
He'll come through this pack, though. That truck's been strong.
Johnny Sauter is out, and he's with Hermie.
Well, Johnny, I can tell you that none of us have any idea what is going on with you and your teammates and your truck, so maybe you can help us figure all this out.
Yeah, just inferior engines, I guess. I'm not sure. You know, it's just real disappointing that season comes down to that. This is a fresh engine, so obviously something's wrong with it. And so I'm just proud of everybody at ThorSport. Can't thank Duke and Ron enough for all that they do for the series, not only myself and all these guys, but just the series. And it's just a shame. I'm a pretty realistic guy, and I feel like we were going to dominate this race. It just, the truck was really, really good. So just proud of Joe and all the guys, and just really disappointed. And something happens that's out of your control. What are you going to do?
A lot of confusion and frustration by these drivers down here in the garage, Vince.
Right, he mentioned Duke and Rhonda Thorson, the owners of ThorSport, and certainly they are 2 people that have been in this series and stood by this series through thick and thin, and always giving their best effort, and it's a heartbreaking result for those drivers, and I can assure you those team owners.
Oh, Moffitt was a little bit loose. Is that going to open the door enough for Creed to finish the pass? Yes.
Sheldon Creed into 2nd ahead of Moffitt.
This is a kid that's shown speed all year long to be able to drive to victory lane. Sheldon Creed, huh, Phil? But some accidents along the way and just very aggressive driving, which is his nature. But tonight, it looks like that truck down on the bottom of the racetrack was able to stick and handle well. And he's going to try to track down Ross Chastain.
What does he have, like his last 4 finishes? 6 is his worst, including 2 runner-ups, too, for Sheldon Creed.
Todd Gilliland in that 4 truck on the outside of Austin Hill. That's for 6th. And that's Ankrum right there behind him. One of the few playoff drivers that hasn't had a problem tonight. Christian Eckes, the pole winner in that 51 truck, riding the high line.
And remember, Ankrum is not out of the woods. He's going to have a fairly decent finish here. He's only 5 points right now above the cut line, and that's only 5 positions as they run on the racetrack.
There's Christian Eckes behind the 17 of Ankrum, and then give a shout out to Anthony Alfredo. He's joined this battle. That's a young man that's shown speed as well this year, getting some starts and showing that he can get the job done.
54 laps to go. We're going to take a break. The 0-2 of Tyler Dipple with smoke out the back, and his team ushering his truck back to the garage area.
On the lead lap, running competitively, and had trouble under the hood there.
So would we anticipate pit stops here with the guys out front?
Yeah, I think so. This gets them in their window. If the pit road is open when they come around, that'll be 51 to go. We know 50 to 55 is a pit window. I might not put my last set of tires on now because I put them on less than 20 laps to go, but I think it would definitely top off.
I think so as well, and I don't anticipate any of our front runners putting on tires.
And excitement in the racing world as well. What a great weekend in Las Vegas. The final race of the regular season for the Xfinity Series, the first race of the playoffs for the Monster Energy Cup Series, and of course this cutoff race in the trucks. Hermie?
Been a clean race so far for the 2 events. These guys come in, they just want fuel at this particular stop. The truck's a little bit on the tight side, but right now fuel only for the 2, Alan.
Same call for the 45 in the middle of your screen. Ross Chastain, fuel only. Said he could use a little bit of help getting off the corner, but fuel only for the 45. On the bottom of your screen, the 24 of Brett Moffitt. Fuel only going into that truck. He's off and away.
Well, just as you indicated, Phil, everybody coming to top off. Eckes did take a couple of tires. Going to be 50 to go, just under 50 to go when we come back to Las Vegas. The cutoff race in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, first round. Well, the unmistakable view of Las Vegas. Only one city in the world like it. It is unique for sure, and always love the racing at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the world of Westgate 200. Right here on FS1, glad you're with us tonight as Ross Chastain continues to lead. We've had 5 different leaders, and you see the number of lead changes. The biggest story of the night, however, the playoff drivers that have experienced trouble. First it was Grant Enfinger, then his teammate Matt Crafton, and another teammate Johnny Sauter. All 3 are out of the race, and even Stewart Freeston, another playoff driver, has had his issues tonight, but because of all the other drivers that have dropped out, Freeston has actually secured his spot in the next round of the playoffs.
See it go green, Vince? That's what these drivers were all looking for tonight, to be able to know they're going to continue their trek toward a championship.
How about some of the strategy of Austin Hill, Hermie?
Miscue on pit road. Vince of the 16 came back down pit road. 4 tires and fuel, and he's mentioned a couple times his engine is cutting out a little bit on top end heading into turn 1, so let's keep an eye on the 16.
We will indeed, as you see his crew chief Scott Zipadelli, and that would be certainly unfortunate for Austin Hill because he has been one of the best trucks tonight, has led 17 laps and has been running up front, challenging for the lead almost all night long. And there's Phil Gould, the crew chief for Ross Chastain. He's the leader on the outside of the front row with Brett Moffitt on the inside.
Moffitt with a nice start. Ross was able to forge ahead, but Moffitt rebounded and is nosed out on Chastain now.
Throw a blanket over the top 3, and Christian Eckes and Ben Rhodes right there behind him to fill out the top 5. Less than 50 to go here in Las Vegas. Moffitt leading Chastain. Side by side for third is Creed and Eckes. I think Sheldon Creed and Christian Eckes, a couple of names we're going to talk about for a long time to come. These are two drivers that, like these two right here, they go fast. And I'll tell you what, they have got good trucks under them. And as they learn to get it to the end of the race, I think they're going to be challenging for wins just the way Moffitt and Chastain have done this year.
Yeah, they did a lot of racing last year in the ARCA Menards series. Sheldon Creed was our ARCA Menards champion. Christian wasn't old enough to run all the races, but he is battling for the championship in the ARCA Menards series. As a matter of fact, he has a race this weekend in Salem, Indiana.
Yeah, what a great racetrack that is.
With 3 to go in their championship.
Chastain out front. Statistics say he's dominated this race, leading 54 laps, but it's been a lot closer than what it says on paper. As you see our points in the pylon, Crafton already out of the race, so Ankrum just needs to stay safe out there on track to hold that final position.
Yeah, right now Ankrum's running in the 8th spot. I mean, he can have just a little bit of trouble and lose a bunch of spots, so it's certainly not over for him.
The 5 truck right behind Ankrum is Dillon Lupton, another driver that has been impressive in limited appearances this season. Back toward the front. Chastain leads. Of course, Ross Chastain, as Phil mentioned earlier, when the season began, he was running for the Xfinity Championship, but not the Truck Series Championship. Decided to make that switch after he had won a truck race at Kansas and has won a couple of others since. And some consider Chastain to be the favorite to win the championship, even though Moffitt has won the first 2 playoff races.
Yeah, we asked Ross on Race Hub the other night, Todd Bodine and I, and Adam Alexander said, what did you see in this team? What made you think that this was the right thing to do? He said, Al Neese gave me and Cody Efall everything we needed. Phil Gould, we brought him in as a crew chief. He said, I really just feel like that was a situation that we could go out and win a championship. And man, he's looking pretty good.
Look at that draft. Nice job by Sheldon Creed to use the side draft on the 99, grab that spot back, move Creed up to 4th.
There's Phil Gould, the crew chief for Chastain, who you mentioned, Phil, and he's done a terrific job with that group. A small team, but they have done a lot with a little.
Yeah, all these guys pitted on lap number 83. That means we would have 51 laps to go. Now that's, again, that's in our window. But I'm not sure that they shouldn't try to save a little bit of fuel if there's any opportunity. I don't know how Ross Chastain and Brett Moffitt can save any the way they're running right now. But, we've seen guys run out of fuel inside of 50 laps before. So they're certainly, it's not a given that they're going to get to the end without having some potential fuel issues.
What a great story Tyler Ankrum's been this year with the big win in Kentucky. He has BX Custom Motorcycles on that truck. That's Rusty Wallace's company. If you want a cool motorcycle, you just check this place out. It's really cool to have new sponsorship in the truck series. We appreciate BX being there on the 17 truck.
Solid night for these guys, doing exactly what they have to do. A little bit of an issue inside the truck for the 17 of Ankrum. His radio, he believes their battery in his radio is going dead, so they're talking him through the process of switching radio A to radio B so he can maintain the communication to his crew chief, Bono Mannion, but right now doing exactly what he needs to do.
Watch Dillon Lupton in that 5 truck up ahead.
He had a bit of a moment, I think. There it is right there.
Boy, that could have been a big moment for Austin Hill, too.
I mean, it looked like just a little wiggle to us on TV, but it feels a lot bigger than that, I'm guessing.
It does, and the fact that you're out of the throttle for so little, we could hear he was out of the throttle for so little, but he lost so much momentum when these guys are running around here virtually wide open.
Saw Jordan Anderson there. Nice run for Jordan. Back in the 12th position, battling with Lupton.
Yeah, that Jordan Anderson team just keeps getting stronger each and every year. This is about the 3rd year of Jordan running full-time. Just keeps getting stronger, better people.
And usually you can watch on his Instagram, he's in the hauler, driving from North Carolina out to Las Vegas with his team. They do it all. They work on the trucks. Jordan drives, not only on the track, but to the track mostly.
Christian Eckes in that 51 truck started from the pole today after posting the fastest lap in qualifying earlier this afternoon. His second career pole, won the pole in the season opener at Daytona. And Eckes threatened to win earlier this season, or at least looked like he was capable of winning earlier this summer at Gateway. Led 57 laps, ended up 14th in that race, but they had a radio problem, and he got a pit lane penalty. 14th, not indicative of how strong that 51 truck was during the course of that night at Gateway.
And you guys mentioned the speed of Sheldon Creed lately. Top 6 finishes in the last 4 races, but more importantly, just finishing races. We've seen speed all year long, but it seems like he's getting his arms around what it's like to run in traffic and battle side by side in one of these trucks and not make a mistake.
Ankrum losing that spot to Gilliland. That's 9th.
I tell you, Phil, I would try to be pretty conservative if I'm Ankrum running to the finish of this race. If somebody's pressuring me faster than me, I might just have to let them go. We're going to look at the bigger picture, get through this round, and then pick up the intensity and the aggressiveness in the next round.
But Michael, we're only 3 points ahead of the cut line, and we can't let more than 3 guys pass us, or we'll be below the cut line.
Brett Moffitt going down low to defend Sheldon Creed while still trying to challenge Ross Chastain. Moffitt and Chastain have developed a nice little rivalry. You know, Moffitt, the defending series champ. He's won a couple of races, obviously, here in the playoffs already. Chastain has kind of come in and has been boisterous about his intentions of winning the championship and his team's capabilities, and you got to get the feeling there's maybe a little bit of headbang in there between those two.
How many races has Ross Chastain won this year, Vince?
3.
He says 4. He says 4, no question, because of that race that was taken away from him and when his truck did not pass inspection after the race.
Yeah, he took the checkered flag at Iowa, but was then DQ'd in post-race tech, and the win, by the way, went to Brett Moffitt. And the 17 of Tyler Ankrum, you guys are talking about keeping his position so he stays above the cut line. He's lost a couple of positions.
He's losing another one right now, Vince, and that'll put him right now dead even.
That's the replay.
That's the replay. That's how he lost those 2 positions.
And it looked like maybe Hermie, did he get loose off the corner? Is that what happened? No momentum there, it didn't look like.
Michael, right after my last report, he came on the radio and told his team that he's running wide open all the way around this racetrack. This seems like he's losing power under the hood. We'll watch it.
Oh, man, that would be a disappointment. But he's been able to maintain contact with Jordan Anderson and Dillon Lupton, who blew him off. But now he's able to really pull back up.
Yeah, that's crew chief Bono Mannion, their left side of your screen. And look at the far left. You see that's our playoff standings as they run right now. Matt Crafton, 6 above the cut line. We know he's going to qualify because Johnny Sauter, Grand Finger already out. Tyler Ankrum is the only one right now that there's a question about. And again, he loses one more position, then he would be dead even with Johnny Sauter, and we would have to go to a tiebreaker.
So you mean Sauter and Ankrum? You're telling me Sauter's got a chance?
Yes, yes, he has a chance, especially if the 17 is having issues like Hermie was reporting.
If it came down to a tiebreaker between Sauter and Ankrum, the ties are broken by your best finish in the round. The best finish in the round between Sauter and Ankrum would actually go to Sauter. He's had the best finish of the 2. He finished 6th. Ankrum's best finish has been 9th in this round.
Well, Ankrum has rebounded. He drove back around Jordan Anderson and Dillon Lupton, so whatever the problem was there for a couple of laps, he seems to have corrected it.
Meanwhile, Ross Chastain continues to lead a half a second over Brett Moffitt. Ross Chastain continues to front the field here in Las Vegas, the World of Westgate 200. The final race in round 1 of the playoffs. 2 drivers, 2 of the 8 playoff drivers will be eliminated. Ross Chastain and Austin Hill, along with Stuart Freeston, have already assured themselves of advancing to the next round of the playoffs.
Just ahead of this battle, Austin Hill had a problem on pit road, came back down and pitted again. You can see him there, the second truck. He is fast. He has driven through the field up to 2nd position, consistently running the fastest lap times on the racetrack. We talked about this very truck and the step up in performance this team made in Michigan a few weeks ago. It's continuing here.
He was a 10th faster that last lap than our leader, Ross Chastain. We have 24 laps to go. He's 1.4 seconds behind. He is coming.
You know, we talked about Tyler Ankrum needing to avoid disaster. He's just 2 points above the cut line. Near disaster right here. Watch Jordan Anderson get loose and almost take out the 17.
They definitely made contact. You saw contact with the left rear quarter panel on that 17 truck.
He's lucky it didn't cut that tire. You know, any contact at all there, the fender is right on that tire. So that was a real close call for that truck.
He's got a pretty good gap right now. It's over 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds back to Jordan Anderson. So he's in a nice little pocket right there. He can't afford to lose too many more spots, as you mentioned, Michael. Right now, 2 points to the good.
That's his teammate right ahead of him. Another one of the DGR Crosley trucks. That's Dillon Lupton in the 5.
And Ankrum was the second fastest truck on the racetrack that last lap.
They're all chasing the 45 of Ross Chastain, Alan.
Yes, and virtually nothing on the radio from Ross Chastain since we went back to green. He's now extended his lead over Austin Hill. For a while, it was Brett Moffitt who's going the wrong direction. But Ross Chastain, think of the journey he's been on. It was 1 year ago at this track that he got his first Xfinity Series win. That set in motion a series of highs and lows. He's trying to come full circle and put it back in victory lane here at Las Vegas again.
That's a great point, Alan. It's been a crazy year for Ross Chastain.
Man, he hasn't let off the gas, though, has he? No matter what kind of issues or challenges he's been faced with, the Watermelon Man has delivered, running very aggressively in these truck races. And right now, that lap, he was the fastest truck on the track. A little bit quicker than Austin Hill that time by.
Yeah, about 1/10 of a second that time.
The Gander Outdoors, 20 to go for Ross Chastain. He has led 80 laps tonight, and I think, Mike, one of the, you talk about the Watermelon Man, I think he's become one of the real big stories in all of NASCAR this year, and the fans have gotten behind him with that you know, that unique twist of the watermelon and what the watermelon symbolizes to him as a racer and to his family from a business perspective, and the way he celebrates in victory lane with it.
He's an 8th generation watermelon farmer from Florida. 8th generation.
And the guy behind him, Austin Hill, with that fast number 16 Toyota. He closed in on Chastain that last time by. There you see Tyler Ankrum in that BX Customs truck. He's able to distance himself away from Anthony Alfredo. Got him a nice gap, like you said.
3.5 seconds now. That's actually opened up about a second the last 2-3 laps.
You saw Freeston that Ankrum passed. Remember, Freeston is a lap down after issues earlier in the race as well. Down a cylinder.
See on the left side of the screen, Austin Hill's got it under a second now. He's beginning to pick up the draft off of that 45 truck of Chastain. And we saw earlier in the race, Vince, how Hill was able to run the bottom of the racetrack, tight on the bottom, and make a pass as he drafts up on Chastain. This is going to be fun to watch this battle.
There's Ben Rhodes in 6th alongside Brennan Poole. You know, Rhodes certainly still in position. I mean, he could, certainly, if we get another caution that would shrink that lead, he's 7.5 seconds behind the leader now, but somewhat amazing that he's been able to even be this far in the race because of the issues that his teammates have had, and you wonder if those might have been related within the organization. And with the laps that have run off and the positions that have been shifted, the drivers that are out, we can now put Matt Crafton's name in green as one of the drivers that will move on to the next round of the playoffs. So that means there's one spot available. Who's going to get it?
Right now, Tyler Ankrum is in the driver's seat for that final spot.
And Johnny Sauter's in the truck. The wrong truck, the one that hauled his truck here, but he's watching and seeing if a miracle can happen and he can continue his championship hopes.
Again, we won't know really till they cross the line at the checkered flag whether Tyler Ankrum is able to hold on and maintain that gap on Johnny Sauter, point-wise.
If by chance you're just joining us, Infinger, Crafton, and Sauter, 3 trucks out of the Thor Sports stable, 3 playoff trucks. They're all out.
Look at that bubble. Ankrum knowing he just needs to run off 15 laps.
Can believe that Matt Crafton and Junior Joyner have taken a big sigh of relief sitting back in the hauler watching this one.
When we saw the look on Junior Joyner's face when that happened to Matt Crafton, I don't think he would have ever dreamed that he was still going to qualify and move on to that next round.
Battle for the lead.
How about Austin Hill, Mike? He continues to close the gap on Ross Chastain.
Check out this visor cam. This is what he sees. That number 45 truck getting bigger and bigger in his windshield.
And for the first time in a long time, we heard Ross Chastain over the radio come over and say it's getting really tight. And you can see Austin Hill getting closer and closer. Ross Chastain also asking, are we going to the end, as in not coming in to make any other adjustments? They told him yes.
This has been a long green flag run, Phil. They're burning more fuel than they would, obviously, if we had some caution laps. So this fuel issue could become a challenge for some of these teams.
Yeah, again, we talk about that being within the window, but you never know if somebody's not getting quite the fuel mileage. And right now, Ross Chastain can't save any fuel because he has a mirror full of that 16 of Austin Hill.
Well, and Chastain, when he came and pitted on lap 83, he just took fuel only. Remember Hill, they had the issue, and he came back in on lap 84, and they put tires on that truck. So he's got fresher tires than what Ross Chastain has.
And he has used them. That truck was back in 16th position when we restarted. He's driven through the field, and watch him gain on Ross.
Big wiggle by Chastain, and that might be all that Hill needs to get the momentum to challenge and take the lead. Austin Hill across the line, and he is side by side with Chastain. 11 laps remaining for the lead.
This is where Austin Hill was strong earlier. Down on the bottom, he was able to hold it and make the pass. He does it again. Austin Hill to the front. Wow.
Now, can Hill gap Chastain, or can Chastain fight back?
This
good corner right there for Austin Hill.
This is a great story with Austin Hill. He won Daytona. The performance really wasn't there through the earlier part of the season. Came to Michigan and put it on him. Got the victory there, and now look at him go.
He went 3 races in a row not that long ago and didn't have a finish inside the top 30.
The 54 of Natalie Decker slowing and coming down on the apron on the back stretch, will be making her way to pit road.
Could this be a situation where maybe they didn't get it full of fuel and going to come up about 10 laps short for Natalie Decker?
Look at Austin Hill drive away from Ross Chastain. I wondered once he got out in front, would the handling change on the 16, how it would go? Man, it's going good.
You know, when they ran here back in March, Hill had an engine issue, finished 30th. Tonight, when so many others are having issues, Hill is the one that has driven to the front, and now he stretches that lead to nearly a second over Ross Chastain.
That truck is handling, Phil. You can't make those moves on the bottom like he's done and have a truck that isn't glued. And you can see just a nice steady wheel as he turns down into the corner. Unhook Scott Zipadelli and that crew. If I was him, get out of this truck and win. Man, they really put something together.
And there's Tyler Ankrum. Ankrum currently running comfortably in that 11th position, but most importantly, he's a spot above the cut line in the playoffs after coming into this race tonight 8th out of 8 playoff drivers.
It's going to be a long 7 laps for that young man, hoping this thing stays together. Anthony Alfredo, another good run. He's in the 12th position. Behind him in the 87 truck is Marakovich.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about Tony Marakovich, but really doing a nice job in one of Joe Nemechek's trucks, the 87.
There he comes down the front straightaway. This is a good run for this team, and a nice job by Marakovich.
Yeah, and third race this year for him. He finished 12th last time out at Pocono, Vince.
And remember the truck that really I'm sure they thought would have the better night of the two out of that stable, John Hunter Nemechek, completed 0 laps. I mean, he didn't even get started tonight.
Wouldn't even start on the grid to start of the race.
Jordan Anderson inside the top 15 as well, as he continues to put together a step-up season.
Yes, he does. Gus Dean also has remained on the lead lap all night long, and he's running inside the top 15. That's a solid run. These teams that we don't see up inside the top 15 with other guys having trouble, and them being able to perform and execute and get these good finishes, that's a real boost for them.
The final 5 laps of the race, Austin Hill continues to stretch on Ross Chastain. Boy, how it ended up being a little bit of a twist of good fortune for them to have to come back down pit road and decide, well, we got to come back down pit road, we might as well put tires on it, and that has been the difference maker for Austin Hill.
What a great call by Scott Zipadelli. And you never know, you know, every one of these other guys didn't want to put that last set of tires. They only had 1 set of tires in the pits. They didn't want to put that last set of tires with 51 laps to go. But Zippy said, let's do it. We're gonna have to spot them a few spots here because we're gonna have to come in on the next lap. They restarted this race in 17th and drove to the lead.
Well, and with all the yellows and cautions that we've had, but yet since then it stayed green, the longest green flag run of the night.
And that'll make the crew chief a little bit nervous when it comes to fuel, making sure you got every drop in that they needed to get to the checker. Just 3 to go now.
And Austin has not backed off at all. The last lap on the racetrack, he was the fastest truck. Again, almost a 2-second lead now on Ross Chastain.
You know, they've had their issues on the mile-and-a-halfs this season. They've had 3 finishes, 25th or worse. So when you look at the statistics, and this is sometimes how statistics can be misleading, of the playoff drivers, he had the worst average finish on the mile-and-a-half tracks this season. But it's because of those 3 races where they were 25th or worse. They also had some good finishes on the mile-and-a-halfs, but tonight they have really put it together.
I love the statement they made at Michigan, right? Great battle to the checkered flag. They got the win.
Austin Hill through turn 4 and heading to the white flag. 1 lap remaining, a mile-and-a-half left. Who went to the window today and bet on the 16 of Austin Hill?
Scott Zipadelli bet on him on pit road anyway.
A 2-time winner this season. The 25-year-old from Winston, Georgia. Not many gave him a chance to win the championship, even when he won the season opener at Daytona. His odds got a little better when he won at Michigan, and tonight he cashes in again. Austin Hill wins in Las Vegas. And even though he's not going to come in as the winner, he wins big in his own right. The 17 of Tyler Ankrum will grab that final playoff spot. And he is still alive and will continue his pursuit of the championship. And the crew chief, Bono, man, I'd like to get an RPM on his stomach right now. What's churning inside?
How much relief did that look like? That was the first time it looked like he took a breath in 10 laps.
I think Bono's going to step down and get sick.
What a job, though, that young man has done this year. Wow.
Stand back, Hermie. I know you're with Bono, man, and he didn't look like he felt too good.
You want to throw up now after the interview?
Oh, God, that was tough, man. That was tough. That was one of the toughest last few laps. You know, we didn't take tires there with a couple of us, but we still have something to miss with the electrical system. Like the Thor Sports truck, all 3 trucks having a problem. I saw Natalie's truck kept shutting off, and we did that in Bristol, too, and that's what put us in this situation. So hopefully, you know, thanks to everyone that supports us, and moving on to the round of 6, and we'll get our problems figured out. But that was pretty awesome. Thanks.
A lot of experience right there, guiding the young fella, Tyler Ankrum, to the round of 6.
What a great story Tyler Ankrum is, and that team at DGR Crosley. And how about this guy, Austin Hill and Hattori Racing, crew chief Scott Zipadelli, the championship team from a year ago. The driver has changed, but the results looking very familiar.
Those are some great shots there to see right in there with Austin getting all unhooked and jumping out, going to get that checkered flag.
I'm afraid Austin Hill was going to squash Scott Zipadelli there. What a joyful team, and the thrill of victory. You guys have been there, and what it means to win and what that feeling is like.
Yeah, and he just knows that, you know, if he can get to Homestead, he's got a shot at this championship.
That truck will be put away and tuned on, tweaked on, and maybe even, heck, Phil will build another one even better than that one. But this team has certainly made quite the statement.
Austin Hill moving on to the round of 6, continuing his hopes for a NASCAR championship. There's a lot of celebrating, and there's a lot of sighs of relief as well. Austin Hill wins here in Las Vegas, punching his ticket to the round of 6 in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series.
I said there with a few laps to go, Vince, that Austin Hill should hug Zippy and the team. He didn't have no choice. They came and got him. It was a group hug.
Well, here are the 6 that are moving on, and Matt Crafton and Tyler Ankrum, even though so thankful to be moving on to the next round, they start the next round in the hole. That's not quite fair, is it? But that's the way it works out. Oh, how relieved Ankrum must be. He's with Allen.
Yeah, a lot of smiles down here for Tyler Ankrum. Every position mattered tonight. Tyler Ankrum, tell me 2 things. How much did you know about the point situation in those final laps, and what's going through your head when you start dropping a few positions?
Well, I don't know. Well, to be honest, I didn't know all night. All I knew is Bono told me that we had to finish, so I figured that was somewhere inside the top 10. But on that last restart, motor just fell on its face, and I thought I just messed up on the restart, and that's why I fell back so fast. And about 5 laps later, going down the backstretch, like sounded like old 69 Malibu. My heart sank. I thought we were blowing up. I was like, damn it, like, I was gonna be mad. That was the first thing that was gonna happen, but then it cut back on. So I think it was just electrical, but we got lucky. But you know, thanks for BX Customs coming on, Rusty Wallace. Couldn't have made it without them. Toyota, DJR Crosley. They gave me a pretty fast piece. I thought we were gonna have a top 5, top 3 run until all that electrical happened. So we'll figure it out. We made it to the round of 6, so that's all that really matters. No, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's just that you get there. So I think we'll be ready these next few races, but we got tough ones coming up. So
Tyler Ankrum advances, smiles here, smiles in victory lane. Hermie.
Here he is, Austin Hill in victory lane in Las Vegas, his 3rd victory of the 2019 season, and boy, they are celebrating this one. Austin, I walked around the garage this morning and talked to a lot of crew chiefs. They were all talking about how bad the bumps were at this racetrack. I talked to your crew chief. He said bumps hadn't bothered us all day, and when it was the right time to go, you had this truck on a rail. What does this win mean to you?
It means the world to me. This is the hardest one I've had to win. We were going to stay out that last caution, and we stayed out and everybody else pitted, so we decided we needed to pit or we were going to be screwed. So we came down pit road, restarted at the tail end of the longest line, and man, it stayed green. I had to drive all the way through the field, and it was just, this truck was unbelievable. I can't thank Guma Toyo Pet for coming on board, Toyota TRD, the Ison Group, Toyota Susho, United Rentals, just everybody, all my partners that allow me to do this, and HRE, Scott and the boys, they gave me a heck of a piece tonight. You know, we wouldn't have won this race without them. We're 2 for 2 with this truck, so we're going to try to go 3 for 3 with it, but can't thank Shiggy and all the guys enough. Jack, Tyler, everybody. It's just amazing.
Scott said the win was important back at Michigan for you, but just as important for the race team. He said this team needed to bring home another trophy to remind everybody really what they were. Did you make that statement tonight?
Oh, yeah, we for sure made that statement. You know, when I saw the 45 in my sights, we were running close to lap times, and I started changing my line a little bit, and we picked up 2 or 3 tenths there, changing my line, and that was a big statement win. I mean, we drove by the 45 like he was sitting still and then just kept pulling. So we were a little scarce there for a little bit. Our truck was cutting in and out. I don't know if fuel pressure was messing up or what, but I was crossing my fingers every lap I came by after I took the lead. So I'm wore out. Coming from the back like that, it was all I took to get to the lead, and we did it.
Austin Hill moves to the round of 6 with a win here at Las Vegas.
The celebration in victory lane, how sweet it is for the Hattori Racing Group and their driver, Austin Hill. His third win of the season. Hill victorious, and Tyler Ankrum grabs the last playoff spot out of Spiles in Vegas tonight.
Wow is all I can say with this lineup because of Talladega. And then anything can happen at Martinsville. It's short track. It's beating and banging.
You rub against a guy, you get a flat tire, and you finish 22nd.
And I love that racy ISM Raceway. Start finish line move to what was off turn 2 and now flipped around. New fan amenities, but best of all, great racing on that little mile track.
Austin Hill putting that third winner sticker on his truck. And another happy driver is with Alan.
Yes, that happy driver, Stewart Freeston. This was not the way we expected you, maybe, to go advance to the next round, but you did it. But what was going through your head as you're sitting there on pit road, engine issues, and you're going laps down?
I was just, frustrated. We had a battle of a day today, going from inspection and losing our truck chief, George Stone. And then, fought through practice, had a really good truck and race trim. Obviously, time trial bad. The truck's got a lot of downforce in it, and knew it would race good, so we got waved green and started marching to the front and got up to just inside the top 10 and thought, wow, this thing is really good. And then it changed pitch, and it was like instantly started going backwards. So we got lucky that we didn't have something catastrophic. We were able to limp it to the finish, and crazy night for motors or whatever was going on. A lot of smoke, but the Halmar Silverado fought through and made it to the next round. So that was the major goal. We're bummed because we thought we had a really fast truck and probably could have contended for the win, but it is what it is, and we'll go on to Talladega here in a month or so and race on then.
Stuart Freeston still competing for the title.
How big was that win at Eldora for Freeston to clinch his spot in the playoffs?
But just a win in general for Stewart Freezing after how many would he have? 6 second-place finishes prior to that win?
And then of course, the misfortune of others tonight that ended up allowing him to escape into the championship and still have an opportunity to maybe lift this trophy in November.